Hello and welcome everyone to a brand new TAQELAH webinar. Today we have the privilege to learn from one of our most active community participants, Lemui. Lemui is a senior software engineer in test from Singapore, and she is going to share her experience on integrating end-to-end tests into CI/CD pipeline. Before we begin, a quick note on the Q&A time. Please feel free to post your questions in the Zoom chat or YouTube live comments, and Lemui will take them up by the end of this session. With this, I pass the stage on to you, Lemui.
Hi, good evening to everyone. Thank you for tuning in to my talk. So tonight, the topic is how to integrate end-to-end tests into the CI/CD pipeline. So here is my agenda. I have about 16 slides with me. So what I'm going to do is spend the first 15 minutes running through the slides, and then I'll follow with a demo, which probably takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A session. So agenda is BDD approach, choice of test automation framework, Serenity JS, then the Screenplay pattern, what is continuous integration and why we do continuous integration, and the CI/CD server. In this case, I choose Azure DevOps because it is free and it is actually also linked to the cloud services. Setting up Azure DevOps pipeline, trigger the pipeline to run the test and to view the test report, and then the demo. So BDD approach. So I think, as you all know, BDD is software development process that has become the mainstream right now for keeping your projects on track. So it helps in your requirement analysis to make sure that you develop features that align with your business goals. So it is also help to enhance the agile methodology by encouraging collaboration among the team members. So bringing the non-tech and the tech members to understand the software that you are building. So it also engage the conversation with customer. So it leads to a lot of benefits, like it reduce wastage, it cut down costs, and it also help you to release your product to the market faster. So as I choose this approach, of course, I also have to choose the test framework and the tools that can support BDD. So for me, the choice of test automation framework is key. So in this case, I choose the Serenity JS. So Serenity JS is made out of 5 building blocks. So this diagram explains these 5 building blocks. So you have the actor performing tasks, asking questions, having ability, and so forth. So in a way, it helps you to model your business domain very easily. Okay, so basically it's a Node.js library. So it supports BDD, it also supports the UI. So it has all the API library that help you to interact with your web. So it has a layer abstraction using the Screenplay pattern. Yeah, so it uses the library of the business domain. Follow a good engineering principles such as this solid design principle, this 5 design principle. I think for those software developers, they are quite familiar. So I won't go into the detail. But basically, this design pattern helps you to write cleaner code, and leads to readability, scalability, and maintainability. Yeah, and it can integrate with Cucumber and all the other frameworks like Mocha and so forth. So it also built on top of Protractor, so it can be used across all front-end framework. And because it's written in JS or TypeScript, so it's very familiar with the front-end developers. So it also gives you a very nice detailed reporting, which later I will show in the demo. Yeah, so now we move on to the Screenplay pattern that was offered by Serenity JS. So as later even in my GitHub, you will see from the code, right, the test scenario, the features file uses a Screenplay story. So it's very easy for you to relate to real world scenarios. So typical test scenario, usually you will have a user story, right? That has a role and there's a goal. So it's user-centric. So you can have a persona, actor called James. So James is a persona. So it helps you to understand the context very easily. So this persona will perform specific role. Yeah. So actor performing a task. So you can see here James attempt to. These are actually the Screenplay pattern API that was come with the Serenity.js. So when you read your code, right, it flows so smoothly, you know, like reading a screenplay, a story like that. So it also asks questions about the states to verify its correctness. Okay, now I move on to the next one is what and the why of continuous integration. So you know the primary focus of the in an agile team is to find defects as early as possible while you are developing your software. So you want to do your checks continuously. So as soon as you commit your code into the code repository, you want to trigger to verify whether your code change still works. Yeah, so you want to run your unit test, you want to run your integration test, you want to do your code quality checks. And then you want to package the application, and then finally you want to run the automated end-to-end test. And this is what we call continuous integration. So this is basically how the flow looks like. Code commit, and then the next stage is unit test, integration test, package it into artifact. It could be a Docker image or whatever. Then deploy it to different environment, and then you run your end-to-end automation test. Then after that, you get your test approval. It may be a QA who approve this test, to go to the next stage. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, next stage deployment. So for me, I choose the CI server, the Azure DevOps pipeline. So one of the most important features of Azure DevOps, it provides a pipeline that enable you to do continuous integration and continuous deployment. So Azure pipelines provide the build and release services that support this continuous integration and deliver of your apps. So this is first you have to have a GitHub repo, and then you need a Azure account. So this is a URL that you can go to create your account, and then you start with creating your organization and your project. So there's a menu sidebar where you see this pipeline. So this is where you click and then you start to create your pipeline. So in the demo, I will show you that. So this pipeline you can configure using the Azure Pipelines YAML. So for those who are coding expert, right, usually this is the preferred way, and it's also more secure. So the demo toolkits that I have for this talk is I have the application under test. So this is the link. It's actually publicly accessed, so later you can actually go and take a look. So my demo will be also based on this. So you have an application under test, which is basically just a simple web application written in TypeScript. And then you have another repo, which is the end-to-end test automation. So when you create the pipeline in the Azure, right, it will integrate into the GitHub repo. And then this YAML file will be generated. So wherever you commit your change, it will trigger this pipeline to run your test. So just run through the next few slides to show how the Azure pipeline YAML file looks like. So you can actually configure the same YAML file to have two repositories. So you just have to have these few lines here, the resource repository, and you refer to your end-to-end test automation repository at the beginning of the YAML file. Then after that, you at later stage of your YAML file, you have to check out this end-to-end automation and then run the test. So this part is to actually create the artifact for the test report. Okay, then this part is actually to show how you can create a web test report. So because the web report is a collection of HTML, right? So you need the web service to host your report. So in this case, I have to go to the Azure portal to create these app services. And then you have to, for usually in Azure, every services, you have to put it under a resource group. Yeah, so then back to your Azure DevOps pipeline, you have to set up this service connection. So they will ask you to do some authentication, and then after that you just link it to that service connection. I think this one I will do a demo for this part. Then there's another type of pipeline, which is they call it the release pipeline. So this release pipeline, you can't use any YAML file. It's actually, you have to do it through the UI. So usually people use this release pipeline is when they want to deploy at the final stage, all your deployment, and yet you can also use this release pipeline to also run another so-called final round of your end-to-end automation test. So later in the demo, I also kind of show you how we can set up this release pipeline. Okay, this one is just the report. So with that, I think I will go to the demo now. Yeah, so before we do the CI/CD, I just want to let you have an idea of how it looks like locally. So in local environment, right, I just start the local server running. Okay. Yeah, this is just running on the local host, and it's a very simple web application. So I have another local report, which is my end-to-end automation test. So I just run this test locally. Yeah, and then it will launch the web server, and then you will just do this kind of automation testing. This is how it looks like locally. Yeah, so right now I'm going to show you how whenever a developer makes some changes to his code line, he will trigger the end-to-end. So let's say I make some small change here, margin I change to 1, right? So I do my git status, I want to add, and I want to commit this change. Change margin to 1. Okay, this is the command. And I push my change. Okay, so this should trigger the pipeline to run your CI. So I have to wait for a while. I think it's in already, so I go back to here, and yeah, now it's triggered. So I actually configure my pipeline to run on different stage. So as you can see this diagram, I'm doing a build and test artifact right now. And then then you go to the next stage to deploy to the development environment and run through the test and the QA environment. And for QA deployment, I actually have a review check. Yeah. So you can actually go in and see how the log file looks like. So this is basically running through what you have configured in your YAML file. So because I have set up all this beforehand, so if in case you are like very new and how you are going to set up this pipeline is actually very easy. You just go here and then click new pipeline, and then you choose where your code is residing. So in this case, I'm using the GitHub repo. So yeah, then it will show you a list of the repositories. So for me, actually, it's this one. So it will bring you through, like you just have to go through the steps. So configure your pipeline. So usually I'll just choose starter pipeline. then it will give you this template. Then you are supposed to just add the content. So using this editor, right, it kind of give you that guide you through the format. In case your alignment is a bit out, it will prompt you. So this is a good way to kind of configure using this editor that was in the Azure pipeline portals. Okay. So you also can set a variable here, environment variable that you need for your pipeline. So because I have done this, this is just to let you know how this is done. So at the end of this is what the pipeline looks like. Yeah. So when you configure using this Azure, this Azure DevOps pipeline, right? They will actually generate this Azure YAML in the GitHub. So it will be part of your repository. So this is the file. Yeah, so it will be here in your part of your repository. So this is how it looks like. I hope the font size is clear. Otherwise, at the end of the talk, my GitHub repo is available. You can actually go in and study in detail. Basically, it's a build and test different stages. So at the end, it's basically doing exactly what I'm doing when I run my test locally. So then you create the test report, and then you use the Azure command line to host your web report to the web services. Yeah, sorry, I'm showing the wrong. Actually, this is the right one. So remember earlier I was sharing with you, you can configure two repository in the same pipeline. So you need to define the other repository, which is your end-to-end automation. Then when you need to run your test, you check out this repository, then you run your test. Okay. Then you deploy your end-to-end test, all your files into the artifact. So I put it under test source folder. And then my application under test, I put it under app source folder. Okay, I think I go back to, yeah, I think it's still running. So right now it's at the stage where it generate the web report. So back to this pipeline, right? So then this is the part that is running right now to create the test report web. And then using the Azure CLI command to deploy your so-called report into the web apps. And then the next stage is the dev deploy. So this deploy is like if let's say you want to deploy into the development environment. So these are different environments that you want to deploy and run your end-to-end test. So for because it's just a demo, for this different stage, right, is actually basically doing the same thing. Yeah, so right now is the next stage, the development deployment. So again, you run through exactly what you have done earlier. Okay, so this is the running the development deployment. So it's running. So after complete, it will go to the QA deployment stage. So since while it is running, let me show you the web services. So this is another URL, which is the portal, they call it the Azure portal, where you can actually create all your services in the cloud. So say you are in the home, right? Home. This is the dashboard. So you want to create a web. So before that, I let you see how it looks like. This is a web report that was generated by Serenity JS or Serenity BBD. So it will just go to this URL, then you can see your report here. But first, you need to create this app web service. So I'm going to show you how this is done. So you go to your portal, Azure portal, and then there's a app services icon here, right? So you just click on this and then you just add. Yeah. Then you just have to specify your subscription and then your resource name. So before that, you must have created your resource group. So I put it demo. Then your app name is up to you to rename. So this will appear as a URL when you navigate to that web page to see your report. Yeah. So then you just follow through and then click the next one. Then this thing will be created. Because I already done it earlier. So this is what I have created. So this is the URL. And I just choose a free tier plan. So when you click on this URL, it will bring you to the report. Yeah. So you see, this is generated today. So this is fresh. So earlier I mentioned, right, the Serenity gives you very nice detailed reporting. This is what I mean here. So you can go, okay, because I think they are generating. Let me see. Yeah, there's a review waiting for approval. So this one I purposely put a approval, like for QA, right? For them to review before they actually can proceed to the production deploy to the production environment. So in this case, I see that the test has passed and all that. Then I just say approve. Then this once I approve, it will continue to deploy to the QA environment and run your test. Yeah, then you will produce the artifact. Don't know what happened here. I don't know, seems like the resource is removed, but I can show you how it looks like in the local. So this is the report. So you can drill down to see the scenario outline. And then you also can drill down to the different steps. And it also takes screenshot of your test. So this is what I mean that this what the benefits of what this Serenity BDD JS brings. It gives you very nice detailed reporting from high level scenario all the way to the detailed steps. I think just now there's some thing running, so now it's okay now. So if you go to the web, right, then you go to the test report and you drill down to the scenario, it will show you the detailed steps. It's still running. So while it is still running on the QA deployment stage, I'm going to show you. At the end of this, it will trigger the release pipeline. So earlier on, I also set up this release pipeline. So how do you create this release? You just have to go through these steps. Create new release, and then you just go through. Yeah. So here I'm going to show you. Now, right now you see it's a release 31. So later at the end, when this finish, this would be triggered. So it will automatically trigger. So you will see release the 31. And then what is inside this release? I go to the edit. This is the setup. So I choose the artifact, which is my application under test. Yeah. And here I also enable the continuous deployment trigger. Then I also set up the different stage. In this case, I just set up one stage. I call it the staging. Then inside this staging, what I have is agent. I choose the Ubuntu Linux. I just need Linux in this case. So these are the list of tasks running on this agent. So it's exactly what I did. I configure in the YAML file, but except that this is not through the YAML method, but it's through this UI. So first, you just what I did is just to give some permission and then clean up the node modules. Okay, then the next one is because Linux, right, you need to use the studio. So exactly what I did when I run it locally, I just do a npm install first. Since earlier on I cleaned up all the node modules, right, I need to reinstall again in this agent. And then after that, I start the server, the application that I want to test. And then next I run my end-to-end test. So which is just npm test. So the working directory actually early on during the build and test, I have actually deployed it to this artifact to this location. So this is where they pick up and then run the test. Okay, I think going back to the pipeline, it's still running. It takes quite a while because I define different stages. So right now it's already in the production deployment. So at the end of this, you will see that the CD site, it will trigger the release pipeline. Yeah, now it's 32 now. Yeah, so now it's running. You can also go in and take a look at the logs, what goes on there. Yeah, so earlier I also mentioned about the setup, the connection, the service connection, right? So it's actually under your projects, that thing. Yeah, here, service connection. So earlier I have also set up this connection. This verify is just to kind of authenticate, do some authentication. And once you authenticate, then your service connection name, you just have to specify your Azure subscription. Then there will be then there's this service connection to your Azure app services. I think this is done already. So yeah, so this is also ongoing. I think this is going to complete soon. So yeah, I think this is what I have that I want to share. With that, I have come to the end of my presentation. So this is my last slide. Yeah, I leave my contact with you in case any of you is interested to use this CI. Just ping me, and this is also my GitHub account. My demo is also available there. Yeah. So and once again, I thank you, TAQELAH, for giving me these opportunities. And right now, I guess we can do a Q&A if you all have any questions. Okay, let me. Oh yeah, this one. When you run it in the Azure agent, right? You will go into a headless mode, so you won't see the browser launch. Where you put your browser in order to open the application, which browser you use to run. Actually, the Azure by default they already install the Chrome browser for you. So by default, actually you are running Chrome. But then when you run your CI, you probably won't see you don't see the browser pop out in the agent. It's a virtual machine. So yeah, it will be like a headless mode. Let me go back. Yeah, so you see the test actually run and it passed, but then you won't see the browser. Uh, you won't see the browser as what you see run locally. But by default, they are using the Chrome. As you can see, the Chrome driver is already by default installed for you. So it's also partly that's the reason why I prefer using Azure, because the agent, most of the tools are there for you. You don't really need much to set up and configure. Yeah. I hope I answer your questions. Any more?
Yeah, Lemu, there's one more question.
I'm a bit lost now. Where's my Zoom? How did you receive the mapping or test report? You said there's no test report. No, the report will be updated, like I show you just now. This one. You see the date, right? It's different. It's now 29. Let's see. Seems I never get updated. It should get refreshed. Yeah, when you run the test, this should refresh. But just now there's some resource issue. I'm not sure what happened. So how do you map the test report to the Azure apps? So actually, this is what I have shown earlier. Is you need to configure your service connection, which I show here under service connection. I actually do a recording in case the thing don't work. So I go to the Azure pipeline. Then I go down to the project settings. And then I go to the service connections. Yeah, so I create new service connection. And then you choose the Azure Resource Manager. And then this one, So then they will do some authentication to your portal, Azure portal, where you run all your resources, all your services there. So after you authenticate, then you choose your resource group, and then you also input your service connection name. So the service connection name, you need to be very careful here. It's actually the subscription, your subscription name, then dash, then your resource group. Yeah. Then after that, you just save this service connection. So once this is set up, I think your Azure in the Azure pipeline, yeah. So in the Azure pipeline, you just have to set up this job and then specify where is your target folder, which is where your report is generated to, and then you use the Azure CLI command. So this is the few code snippet that you need to configure. Yeah, that's all. I think we are quite early. Any more questions?
Yeah, I think we do not have any more questions. So, yeah, that's it. And
Yeah, I hope this session sharing is useful for most of the QA folks there. Yeah.
yeah. So, Limui, I would really like to thank you for choosing to share your experience with the TAQELAH community. And I hope all the attendees found it insightful. I definitely learned a lot about Azure as well as Serenity. So thanks again, Limui, for being a part of this, and thanks everyone for attending as well.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it's earlier than what I expect. Usually when I share this, it actually run out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll stop the session over here.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you, everyone.